Excellent. So welcome again. My name is Steve Fulton, and we are going to just do a little bit of exploring tonight on the internet and what is great resources across the old counties of Lincoln and Welland. We're first just going to start out with, if you're not talking, we want to leave the mics open. So if people do have questions, but if you're not speaking, if you can mute your microphone, that would be greatly appreciated. As well, this meeting is being recorded and it will be available on our website within the next couple days. So without much ado, I'd like to get started, and we are going to be just going from tab to tab as we explore websites that I've discovered across Niagara, and then we'll finally finish off at the Niagara Peninsula branch website, where we'll give a little short tour of that, and then I'm pleased to share a new index that we've created in the last couple days. And we hope that you will be able to use it for your research. So with that, let me just share my screen and we will get started. So excellent. Well, thank you again for coming tonight, and we're looking forward to doing this. So we're going to start out right away. We're just going to remind folks to mute if they can, just so I don't get some background noise. And you can unmute if you have questions as we go along. One of the other options that we're going to try to do is we are going to share the URLs to you as we go along, but because I'm hosting and kind of running this, I will do my very best. If I've missed some, then someone can let me know, and we can get it added in. So again, we're just going to start off with the Ontario Ancestors Niagara Peninsula branch, but we're just going to go to the next one because we're going to leave our website, because it's important to share what others have done in Niagara and how that can enhance your research. So the first tab that we're going to is actually outside of Niagara, but it's the University of Calgary, and they've done an amazing job at digitizing some books out of Niagara. And I'm just going to put that in the chat window, the URL right there. So you want to copy that out. But this particular Chronicles of Wainfleet Township is a great book that I found on the University of Calgary's website that really depicts, what was going on in Wainfleet at the time that it was written. Of course, I have a love for cemeteries, so I went right to this section, but it talks about each of the cemeteries and bits of important information, churches, Wainfleet schools, post offices, the Historical Society, the wars, the police department, and other things that you will find there. It is a very large book, and there's lots of information that you can find there. So I hope that might be some benefit to you, being the first one out that we reviewed. So the second tab, moving along, they don't seem, we've got about 19 tabs to go through, but we're going to spend a little bit of time on each one, and we hope we can, fill the time that we have this evening. So we've now landed on Niagara on the Lake Museum. Again, the URL will be in the chat window for you. And this is a great museum, and this is a great, they have lots of resources online, but I just want to take a step back. I failed to mention that in Niagara, we have a lot of historical or heritage groups that either don't have resources online or don't even have a website. So we won't be talking about them tonight, but we'll give you some options at the end in how to make contact with them. So again, coming to the Niagara-on-the-Lake Museum, as you scroll down into the collection and research area, you'll find lots of different resources, clickable resources that you can go through, including some children's guides for Niagara's history, and that's really cool in what we're doing. So let's just click on Queenston, and that's just going to open up a new page. But what I didn't realize is I've been on a lot of these heritage portals, and for some reason I wasn't really paying attention. Normally you just click on this and it can provide some information down the side. But this particular book, and there's quite a few of them I found, you can actually click on the image. And now the book, which has been scanned, you can now browse it and go through the book page by page, looking for information about your ancestors or about your family. So this is a great option from the Niagara-on-the-Lake Museum, a great resource. And along here, the PDF version of the page, you can actually click on it and it will open this particular page into a PDF version that you can download and that you can save. So this is from ourontario.ca through the museum in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So we're just going to back up here, and I'm just going to go back to their other indexes. So that was the Queenston collection. So we want to go to the Fire Hall, say next. And the Fire Hall collection has a lot of trinkets, a lot of physical things, but one of the important items is photos. And different fire departments in the area, there's the particular photo of the different firemen. And of course, we're very lucky to have all of their names that are here. So again, the Niagara-on-the-Lake Museum has a research and collection section that you can go through, and you can just explore and discover what's in there. One of the other fascinating things I did find out about this, and I'm just going to see if I can get to the right one, but I might not get there. Well, this one, again, it was the assessment rolls and like the 1869. Again, click on the image. The image, here it is, the assessment rolls for 1869. You can actually see where they were in Niagara-on-the-Lake. You can actually see the handwriting, and you can explore what you're going to discover. A few of these databases, these are Ontario, you will actually find audio files, and they will be recordings of interviews and different things from a different time. And they also make great resources for what you're St. Mark's Anglican Church, again, another fantastic location. And is there, no, there's just some images. But again, a great resource to go to. So we'll just skip over this one and we'll go to the town of Fort Erie. And I'll just put that in the chat for you. Just going to let people in. And the town of Fort Erie, they do have a historical museum. It is limited to what you can do on their website. They do have some online available for research, collection, database, a list of newspaper archives, and military reference. That's pretty much it on their site, but I actually open those tabs for you here on the next few pages. So here is their digital newspapers listed below. Unfortunately, they're not online, but they are in Fort Erie, and you can reference that if you have family in the Fort Erie area. The next one, again, all these, I'm not going to put all these links in because they're actually found on that main link I shared with you. This is the military reference. And these are a list of books and documents that pertain to Fort Erie and Buffalo, you know, because they're right side by side going back and forth. Here's some great resources. A cost estimate to repair Fort Erie, the War of 1812. You click on that, and it basically just tells you what the book is, who is the publisher, and other particular information to that. If you're not from the Niagara area, you may be able to, or unable to travel to Fort Erie, you may be able to contact the museum, and they may be able to assist you. And the last tab that was on that was the Fort Erie Historical Museum collection. And this is everything that they have. There's no clickable links on this per se, but it does give you a list of things, and they do have a next page and a last page up here at the top corner. So with that, that was Fort Erie. So let's go into Lincoln. And Lincoln is kind of unique. Again, they have the Ontario attachment to their website. They don't have as much as others, but they do have this historical images and verse index, which is great to have. So if we were to select F and we were to select Fulton, just because we can click on that. And we can get particular information about Reverend Canon John Fulton, the date of the publication, and the copyright, and where it is. One of the great things about the Lincoln Public Library is that the Society had an opportunity to work with them to digitize probably about 150 reels of newspapers. And their one volunteer, an amazing gentleman, and he worked very diligently and got that all done. The last update I've got is that they were preparing to put it into this our Ontario system, and that it would be made available for you. So let me just back up again, because I forgot to put the URL in the chat for you. There we go. So Lincoln Public Library, another great resource. Not a ton of information, but some great stuff to, you know, to say, yeah, there's something there. And the next time I'm down in Beamsville, we're going to have to connect, or you can contact the library, and if they've got staff and resources, they may be able to get that for you. They also have a collection of photos, as per se this postcard, and this is at a Vineland station, not very far from where I live, and it's just a great picture of the time. So there we go. So moving along, we're gonna just skip over to Grimsby, and you're starting to see the same thing, this Our Ontario. And it's a great organization. They have all sorts of collections in them. Sometimes in the libraries, I find that you kind of got to dig for this kind of stuff. They're not as bold as maybe they should be about getting this stuff out there. And we want to, dig through that. But here's a great picture. I just want to click on it here. And it's just the station, Grimsby Beach. You can see a few people on the walk there, but it's a great picture no matter how you look at it. But let's just go into the public library of it. Oh, that is taking us back, and we want to say browse by subject. So not a whole lot of information, but let's see if we can click on this. Just seems to be the photo section of their website. So this is the Jordan Beach. The return fare appears to be 25 cents. So that was certainly not in today's money. So let's click over to the other one, the newspaper index of Grimsby. And here they've got a lot of their newspapers digitized, the Grimsby Independent News. And here's a great one that's just coming. We've got Remembrance Day coming upon us, and this is a great shot to have. But all the Grimsby Independent, and all of their newspapers, you will find online. And I'll put the URL on in just a second here for you. So again, by clicking on this, and you can zoom it in, you can scroll right in. And wouldn't that be great if that was my family right there? We'd be able to get a nice clean shot. It's a great scan of the document. And, we can gather more information from that. So let's just back up here. Just gonna back up all the way because I wanna make sure I get these in. I'm forgetting to put them in for you. And I'll just put this one in as well, because it's important. I hope you're able to copy these out. And if not, then if you just send an email to the Niagara branch, we will forward these links to you. So the Grimsby Lincoln News Index Records, again, another index, not the actual paper this time, but the actual index. And it's probably because the date of publication is 2010. So they couldn't put that on. And yeah, so these are some great records. And this particular Grimsby Independent, I believe, just looking, I think the earliest one we got November 1885. And there we go right there, the Independent. November 1885. These are remarkable scans. These are in remarkable condition. I've spent a lot of time on our microfilm scanner working with an amazing volunteer. And she's on this call tonight, and she is probably just amazed at the quality of these images. So this is another great resource that you can explore. All right, now we're going to get into something that I hope you've all had an opportunity to do, is get into Brock University. Brock University has an archives collection, but they have been doing some amazing stuff this year. All the sites have been doing amazing stuff with COVID going on, knowing that people can't come, and they are getting material online. So the Brock University Archives and Special Collections, and we're just going to spend a little bit of time here because they just simply have a ton of stuff in what they're doing. So Brock has a lot of old maps, historical maps, GIS mapping. They have digital exhibits and finding aids, They have featured collections. I had an opportunity to take a physical tour a couple years ago through Brock University, and it was just amazing to see the amount of the collections. Also, the UEL collection for land records you will find at Brock University as well. So that's where I was able to find my land grant for my overholts so that I could use the UE designation. So we're just gonna try to get this out of the way. And there we go. The first one that you will see here from Brock University is their app viewer. And I'm not going to put in the URLs for all of these because you will actually find them on Brock's site. And this particular historic Welland Canals mapping project is a collaboration of all the canals or all of the older canals in the Niagara region. As you can see, add maps and air photos. You can actually go through and click, and they're overlaying old maps. So if we just scroll down, not only will we see where Lock 8, Lock 6, but here is one of the older maps for the area. So just click that one off, and we will click this one on. But unfortunately, that doesn't work in that area. Oh, there it is. So again, part of a map that is there. If you're interested in the Welland Canal, there's a ton of information that's coming out of Niagara about the Welland Canal, the ships, and you know, the people who built the canal. Many of our ancestors who come from overseas in Russia, not just England and Ireland, but from Russia, from Poland, from Czechoslovakia, and people just came over because this is where the work was happening in the area. So I'm just going to back this out just a bit. But as you can go through, you can see, you know, where the old canal was. Now, those who know of St. Catharines recognize this waterway right here. And you're like, wait a minute, that's almost the 406. That's almost the highway, because there's the highway underneath of it. And if you drive through this area, especially through here, you'll see the back of the buildings right in here. And even to this day, a lot of these buildings will still have the stilts and will still be held up. And you can see the remnants of the old canal that used to go through this area. It's quite fascinating to see. And I used to work for the cable company, and I did a lot of work in that area, and it was, you would get down and underneath, and it was just very cool to see. You know, it's almost like stepping back in time. So here's a great site that you can go through. You can turn off the layers. You can turn on different things. Just gonna turn that one. Oh, I've just switched from the 2013 aerial image now to the 1921 aerial image. And the quality is really good. You could actually, let's just go up and see if I can shut the water off. Okay, well, we'll just leave that for you to imagine there, but you can actually see the water running underneath, the different locks that we're going through and how it passed by, you know, basically went right downtown St. Catharines during that time. And then it continues on into Thorold, down into Welland, and into Port Colborne. So it's a great map, a great resource that you can use. So let's go to the next map from the War of 1812. I just in the process of getting ready for this yesterday. This is new. They must have not had it linked. It appears that it was developed in 2017, but it wasn't really well spoke out. So let's go back down to Fort Erie, and let's click on one of these red dots right here. So let's click on that. And this actually, what they've done is they've linked their maps to these red dots, and now get you to explore what this is about. So let me just back up for a second, because this is the plan of British attack on Fort Erie. I like maps. I think maps are really cool. So I get excited when I see them. They may not tell me a whole lot genealogical or family history, but it allows me to, take that step back in time. And again, just kind of spells out what the region was like during that time. Just going to go back to this particular map. Again, there is different maps that you can find. Whoop. Just going to back up. So for this particular one, 1788, the Niagara River, as best as anyone could describe with the technology of the day. 1749, actually Fort Erie, as it was originally in that time. Let's see what else we got here. 1810, again, the Niagara River. Again, the same way in that time. And it continues to go. 1819, Chippewa in Niagara Falls. And finally, 1818, the Niagara Peninsula, the Niagara Frontier. And this map is really cool. This is a great snapshot of that time period, and you start to envision where things are with this on the map. You'll see some areas that are still called what they are today, St. David's and Queenston. Bridgewater, I don't think I've seen a sign for Bridgewater anywhere, but we've got Stamford and Gee's Bridge. Next time I'm out exploring, I'll have to figure out where that one is. So it's a great map of the time period that, your ancestors came to or were born into. And again, it's there. We're just gonna move along here. Okay, that's that, that's that, that's that. Oh, so one of the really neat things that we use, especially down here when we're looking for cemeteries or we're looking for older areas, is we access the Brock University aerial maps. And Google Maps, which you're all very familiar with, is great. But those images come from satellite. They're very much higher going forward. But these aerial maps that were done— I found this on the web. The aerial maps that were found were done by plane. So they're a lot clearer in what they do. And I'm just gonna, this one's important. I'm gonna put the URL in for that one. But again, here's the different layers that you can go down. So you could shut off the municipal boundaries. We're gonna shut off the 1921 and the 2015 map. And we're going to take that away. So here's the current map. It is as of Niagara as it is today. And what we want to do is they have a lot more pictures for here. So The 1921 mosaic is just really of St. Catherine's and of the canal that we had seen on the other Brock University map. So here is, the original canal back in that time. So we shut that off and we go 1934. Again, the waterway is still there, but the map is much more complete. If we're going to go down into, I believe, Welland in this area. Yes, into Welland. You'll find that the map is much clearer as you go in, and you can actually see what was going on in the time period. So Welland, of course, the Welland Canal actually went through Welland well into the 70s, and it split the town in half, and then they built the bypass after the 70s. Again, moving along, 1948, the map is, getting better quality. 1954 and 55, hey, now we're talking mom and dad or our grandparents, what's going on. Here's 1965, and it just keeps growing. 2000, and the map continues to grow until 2015, which is right there, and of color. So it's a great map if you're zooming in. We use this map an awful lot for trying to rediscover old cemeteries that they've been lost over time. We will take this map in 1921 and we'll overlay it on a new up-to-date Google map, and we'll try to get a picture. Or I was using this map just recently because we were trying to figure out a headstone that came from a cemetery down in Snyder, down in Stevensville, and we could actually see, and I don't have it right at this moment for you, but you could actually see where they were putting the walkway in the cemetery, and it really helped figure out what was going on in that area. So another great resource, Niagara Air Photo, and I'm just going to back up because I don't. They have great maps, and then the Niagara Navigator is from the Niagara region, and this is what I originally started with until I figured out Brock. Again, they have a map. It is the same mapping of going on. The challenge is it's just gotten a little bit more complex that I really care to be involved in. And again, they don't go back so frequently. They only have maybe the last 15 or 20 years. So they're not as detailed as Brock University. But Niagara Navigator is there if you're looking for something that is current or you're trying to explore an area from where your ancestors came from. So we'll just continue to move along. There's the aerial map. Again, I enjoy that one immensely in what we're doing. So Brock University Digital Repository, lots of stuff here. You could lose hours in here. Archives and Special Collections, Brock Major research papers, thesis, again, more maps and stuff like that. And of course, what's been recently added. So I just took a step into the archival resources, just opening up another tab. And of course, here's all the different resources or family funds or, World War I records that you can find here. And I'll just copy that so I don't forget. And there it is right there for you. But again, let's just, the base company. Fantastic. Unfortunately, it lists just the officers. But there is the picture. So if your family member was an officer, great opportunity to get a picture of them. And different the fonds and the different resources that are there. And of course, this particular one, we'll just give it a second here, is actually downloading. It was digitized, so we'll just let it open up. And I'm hoping you can see that. But here is their 1876 diary from the family. I'll just go through a little bit quicker. There we go. So Monday, February 21st, 1876. It is a pleasant and cool morning, and continues to go on from there. Absolutely fantastic. I love reading diaries. It's a great resource, and it's something definitely you can explore and enjoy. So just go back on this one. And one more time. And here we go, Fenian Raid. Anybody is into the Fenian Raid, wanting to do some exploring, here's another great resource that you can reference. Just waiting for the page to load, and it is a newspaper. Absolutely fantastic. And lots of information about the Fenian Raid that you would find in here on June 3rd. So another great resource that you can go to, Brock University, and they have an archival collection. Here we've got, let me just see here. We've got the wounded and killed, revised list of casualties. And this is out of Port Colborne. And here is some of the people that perished during that event. So absolutely fantastic, great information that you can go through. All right. So we're just going to take a step out of Brock University. Again, it's a great resource. They have an amazing facility, and you know, you can get lost into it for hours. So please do. Please do. This is another website that I've actually shared on the monthly newsletter that we send out to everyone, member or non-member. So if you're not part of that newsletter, you should be. Lots of great resources on there. And this is the Niagara Settlers. It's dedicated to the history and genealogy of the early families in the Niagara region. It has lots of great information on here. Who were the Niagara Settlers, Ontario pioneers. It also has the township papers, which you know, is an absolute fantastic resource, and it is broken down into the different counties in there. So just for those who may maybe just getting into the research just a little bit, I'll run through the list real quick, but Birdie is Fort Erie, okay? And Crowland is Welland. Grantham is St. Catharines. Humberstone is Port Colborne. Niagara Township and Niagara Town is Niagara on the Lake. There might be some arguments with that, but it's Niagara on the Lake. Stamford is Niagara Falls. Thorold is Thorold, and Willoughby is Niagara Falls. So another great resource that you can go through and you can find particular records. I'm just going to click on, so you click on, I clicked on Stamford, which is in Welland County. I clicked on W, and here we go. Christian Warner. How about that? My 7th great grandfather, Christian Warner, was entered into these records. So great resource that I hadn't even explored yet. So check it out. There's lots of information here. that you can continue to explore as we go forward. Just going to back up, if I can, to the before page. No. There we go. Pioneer settlement. Again, more maps, more information. And yes, I did provide that URL to you. So definitely take a look. They've got some research links, of course, our branch and the Historical Society, and a few other sites that he's put on here as well, including all the libraries and all the museums in the area. So again, the Niagara settlers. All right, moving on. Just trying to get there. So this particular site, and I'm hoping the owner of the site is actually on tonight, because this actually started really my genealogy back when I started almost 20 years ago. And I just couldn't figure out who the author was, because he had the same last name as my mother's maiden name. And then all of a sudden I started to discover, wait a minute, my mother's on this site. And I had to make contact, and he happens to be my cousin, and he's a great guy. And but I wanted to just promote the site, because it's not about big sites, it's not about little sites, it's about who can provide information within the Niagara region. So particularly the Uppers, very common name. We do have good friends who live in the original Upper Homestead, built just after the War of 1812. Amazing facility, or amazing home. It's still a living, working home. So we want to, explore that. So Matthias Wilson, again, where was that? Right here. He's in my family line as well. So again, another great site you can explore. I'm just going to copy the URL out for you. And there it is in the chat. And there's place names, locator, and other resources that you can find, including, it breaks down. So the Niagara region was Lincoln and Welland County. So we can just go into there and explore. So Clinton Township and history. There we go. So different atlases. So another great resource. Again, 20 years ago, this is where I started. And this site has always kind of been there for me. So, all right. The Historical Society of Canada, or of St. Catharines, I'm sorry. They don't have a whole lot of indexes or searchable things online, but they do have images, and they do have write-ups for the different homes, the shipyards, Jordan Harbor, St. John's, and different things in the area. Port Dalhousie. Let me see that link. Oh. So just got, hang on here. So some of the links might be having some difficulty, but there is some great information that you can find on this website as well. So we're just going to go to this one I just recently discovered as well in preparation of this. Websites pop up all the time, so we can continue to explore it. But again, it's about Welland's history. Anybody has an interest in Welland's history, you have ancestors, it's a great book that you can find, a website that you can find different resources on, all the way from recipes to cemeteries to early citizens, factories, photos, postcards, all sorts of great information on this website. And since I only discovered it a couple days ago, I haven't had a chance to, kind of go through it. But, we can do, let me just see here. I'm just clicking on something. Yep. Okay. So again, another great resource. Oh, here's the cemetery. It takes a little bit to load. I wasn't really sure what it was doing, but here's different pictures of headstones, and this is Hillside in Ridgeway. I was clicking on one, and we'll just wait to see if it comes up here. It is a little on the slow side. So for those who are familiar with Welland, this is actually Welland High. Welland High's fire, and this they managed to take pictures of the school, and it's a great, again, just another digital repository of images and information that is going on in Welland. And one more, and then we'll just move along. Just wait for it to load. Early citizens, here we go. Billy Frost, Welland, 1921 to 22. And we got Miss Nellie Lord and Miss Vera Brooks. So here's, just a bit of information. You can't guarantee that someone's going to be on here, but, it's a great resource that you can do. All right. So the Welland Public Library is our next one that we're going to go through, and it does have a few, not a whole lot, but a few in their local history and genealogy. They do have history on the Welland Canal. They have industry and ethnic history of Welland, and that's kind of cool. It's a project that they did, and it just talks about, industry during the time, and all the different businesses that operated during that time period. But the Empire Cotton Mill and that one's giving me an error. Okay, but the information about the cotton mill and what was going on during that time. Here's a great picture of, appears to be workers in that time. The genealogy database is, and I'm just gonna see if this works, if it's the right one, because they tend to move it sometimes. Yes, absolutely. This is their newspaper index. And this is the resources that you can find in the newspapers at the Welland Library. And this is available, and I'll copy the URL in just a minute. Sorry. And there is the URL to that. Just go back to there. So what's really cool about this is that you can't click on it, even though it seems like you can, but you can go to the library and you can access the microfilm, as per the requirements during this time, or you can wait. But the reason I typed in Fulton is there's my daughter right there, Brandy Carey Lynn Fulton, who was born in Welland. And there is my son, who was also born in Welland at the time. So if I wanted to go look up their birth notice, there's the paper and, the page number that I can find that under. So another great resource for finding your ancestors. This goes into 1916. So it does go back quite a distance. And again, along the top, you can find different things that you can continue to go through. Welland in the war years. You can click on that. So they've done a great job in finding different resources here. The Colonel John Butler UEL group is listed here, along with the Niagara branch and the county atlas maps. So if you do have family or ancestors in the Welland area, this is the place to check it out. So we'll just get into the last few here as we're getting upon the hour. The St. Catharines Public Library as well, they have resources online. They have, again, our Ontario and different historical images of St. Catharines, newspapers, the Burgoyne Bridge, and different resources that you can, their local name index you will find in here. They used to have them all separated into their own index, but now they've brought them all together under one roof. And that is this resource right here that you can find. So again, lots of information. This is a particular death notice, the spouse, the children, the siblings, predeceased, the event date, lots of good information. And the staff at the St. Catharines Public Library are outstanding, and they would always welcome a phone call. So we'll just go back. I just want to make sure that I've covered everything for St. Catharines. Again, this is their genealogy page. I'll just paste that URL right in there for you. And now you have that. Great. So the Niagara Falls Public Library, we're just going to finish up and then we'll just go into the Niagara site. The Niagara Falls Public Library also has a lot of great resources. Their site actually points to a lot of sites. They do have a section with resources, but they've been working on rebuilding it. So if it doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to be patient with them. So I just clicked on. So one of the really neat things about the city of Niagara Falls is they've actually got a genealogy. The city of Niagara Falls has a genealogy family search for their cemeteries. They have indexed everybody in Niagara Falls that I'm aware of, and you can just type in a last name or other information, and you can find that there. So I'm just looking for my grandfather. I click on details, and I can click on the view map, and it will show me where that headstone is in Fairview Cemetery in Niagara Falls. So let me just back up for a second. This particular one doesn't have a photo. Let's see if I can find one with a photo. And there's this particular one, Olive Wilson, Drummond Hill. And that stone is from the early 1900s. And you can get more details. And again, once again, you can click on it and it will bring you up to the cemetery. So this is Drummond Road. This is Lundy's Lane here. This is going down towards the falls, the actual water going over. And this is the cemetery here. So having these maps for the city of Niagara Falls is a great resource. And you can go there with that. So someone just downloaded or just shared with me something. And I'm just going to pause for a second to explore what it is. Hang on just a second, folks. Downloads. Okay. They posted it into the chat, and unfortunately I had to download it. And yes, it's just a map. What are we here? Okay. It's a proposed subdivision. Okay. All right. So let's just go back to the last thing for this evening. So welcome back to the Ontario Ancestors Niagara Peninsula branch. I just want to thank you for taking the time tonight to join with us. On our website, and I'll just give you a brief little tour of our website. One of the key things that we really enjoy, and I'm thankful that it's there, we actually, at our Lock 7 facility, we actually have a live view of Lock 7. And we're very lucky because it's kind of hard to see, but there is a boat in Lock 7 right now, the Frontenac. During the day, you can actually watch this. This is a live feed webcam pointed right at Lock 7, and you can see the different boats going through, the cars going by. It's kind of a neat little thing. You can check for the ship times and learn more about the Welland Canal and the different things. The Friends of the Welland Canal, the Thorold and Beaver Dams Historical Society, the Lock 3 Museum, and different resources. So there's actually a car going by right there. So let's get into a little bit of what you can learn on our site. Besides having our branch publications that you'll find in the Society website that are for purchase, you can actually sign up for the newsletter that we put out once a month. And the next one will be coming up very soon. It's free. If you're a member or not, you can access it. It's a great electronic newsletter. One of the most valuable things is our indexes. And all of our indexes are free and are reviewable on the website. And you can go through our Neff Young obit collection, per se. And this was a lady at a Humberstone or at a Port Colborne who collected obits. And she just collected them for years and years. And some pretty valuable volunteers within our branch collected them. And there is a sum total of 31,000 or almost 32,000 records that you will find in here. And I'll just share with you in a few minutes how you could get access to that. So we'll go back to the indexes for a second. And we will click on, the surname collection. Just wait for that. Just gonna close a few of these. I think my computer's having, just give me a second here, folks. I'm just gonna close some of these tabs as we're done with them. And then I can get my, there we go. So I clicked on the specific Lakeview Cemetery index that our volunteers had scanned their original books, and they have them up to 1965. And this particular cemetery started in 1901. Again, just shy of 5,000 records. But one of the key things, you're like, okay, that's some good information, but is there any more? And you can filter these by just typing into the column above, and it will just find the Fulton that is particularly there. But the key point is by clicking on the green plus. And I'm hoping that Zoom will allow you to see the window that the information, but there's just a bucket load of information within this particular record. These ledger books were very large, and they provided all sorts of information. This particular gentleman passed away of old age at the St. Catharines General Hospital. So another great resource about searching. All of these indexes are free, and you can go there. Now, the latest one that I just wanted to share with you, we just created it. It is the Church Records Index. We still have a few books that haven't been transcribed yet, but they're just church records, so they could be birth or marriage or death, anything to do with the church in that particular time. So William Henry Addison, 1851, was at All Saints Anglican, was a baptismal. And these particular records are tied to the society publication that the branch sells. So it's another great resource. Not all the information's in the index. If you're going to want to get more information, you're going to have to, get the publication. So the last thing I just wanted to share with you, I would really, really encourage you to explore our website to discover all the great things that are about it. If you're a member of the society, you can get access through your credentials, and you can go into our members only area. And these are the different resources that you can go. So we just talked about the Neff Young obituary collection. If you can find your ancestor in that index, being a member, you can come to our members only, and you can actually download that particular obit. So again, here's some of the items that you can find in the, just gonna scroll that a bit, and different records and resources, surname, pedigrees, Wingfleet earlier settlers, the June Long collection, the Esther Summers collection, the Neff Young, Peggy Willis. There's lots and lots of data that you can get in there. And if you're a member, again, you can get that for free. We just encourage you to use it for personal use. So with that, I know I've chewed up almost all the hour, and I just want to answer any questions that you may have. So you can either just ask, or you can put your hand up, or you can just type in the chat window. So I'm just going to answer Heather's. Do you have anything about Port Colborne? So Humberstone, I'll just go back to the searchable indexes. So the Neff Young collection is in Humberstone. That's where all those bits come from. Surname collection, again, you can get information from there. And then we do have all the census and cemetery records on the Society Marketplace. If you just click on the Marketplace here and shop, it'll take you right there, and you'll be able to get that. Great. Does anybody else have any questions? All right, not hearing any. Just gonna check. Yeah, we're good. Not hearing anything. I hope this has been a great resource for you in exploring not just the Niagara website, but other websites, other ways that you can get there. So Deborah writes, my ancestor was in Niagara, late 1700s. How do I find out where they lived? Well, Niagara is pretty large, and so we need to know if it was south or north. Now, there's not going to be census for that time period. The earliest census Niagara has is 1828. So there's going to be some digging that you're going to have to do to figure that out. Rose writes, what is the Esther Summers collection? The Esther Summers collection, like the June Long collection, is handwritten transcribed notes from past members of the branch who just have a passion for research. And they documented about different families and different resources. So we're hoping, well, the Esther Summers is actually, the June Long is actually into members only. We're hoping eventually to get an index for them and make them available for people to search as well. Thank you, Lorraine. So Deborah writes Niagara on the Lake area, which would make sense for the area. Again, it's about those earlier records. I would start with Library and Archives Canada. And Archives of Ontario to see if there's any really early records, especially for Fort George. You'll find that on the Library and Archives Canada's website. Thank you, Brenda. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. And I hope you got the links. And thank you, Sharon. And thank you, Diane. And Deborah writes, best place to find birth, marriage, deaths for Bertie Township, 1780-ish to 1830. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm going to reference you back to Library and Archives Canada for those time periods. There was no legal requirement. If you know the church that they were affiliated with, those records may be still in a book cobbled away in the church somewhere. We need to figure out, where and what church and stuff like that. So we can go from there. Rose was in touch with us. Summers, great. In the 1870s, could people be buried on private land? Were they recorded? Were they moved? Jeanette, we're in the hunt for them. Yes, very much so. People could be buried along the river's edge, along 12 Mile Creek, and we have just yet to find them. So we're out there and we're looking, and no, they were probably not recorded, or were they moved? Let's see here. Ken just writes, for Deborah, you need to consult church records, baptisms, marriage, birth. Yes, because there was no registration during that time. So the last thing I'll just say before everybody writes off, do subscribe to the monthly newsletter. We do have a research team that is a remarkable bunch of people, and they'd be willing to give you a hand. So from Niagara, I just want to wish you adieu and thank you for coming tonight, and we hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye now.